Beautiful. Hello, and welcome to the Rock and Roll Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris, and today on Rock and Roll Podcast, we have Helloween. They have a new album called Helloween, which is released on June 18th via Nuclear Blast Records. Right now, I'm being joined by Michael to share some more information about this release and what the band has got coming up and going on. So, Michael, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Well, hi everyone. It's a new album, and it's like Helloween, self-titled, and it contains lots of groovy stuff and whatever, and speedy stuff and melodious stuff and whatever. Everyone's raving about it, so we must have done something real good. Whatever there is.
Whatever there is. Now, people are raving about it. Does that surprise you at all, Michael?
No, not really. But you could be a bit less lucky. Like more unlucky. And then it's like, if everybody likes it so much, and then they keep saying that, you come to a point where you actually believe it. But I think we've done a super great job. It's something to really be proud of. And, well, if even the people say so, we're all in good waters.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, you're in the Canary Islands, so you're in good waters over there.
Yeah, all surrounded by it.
Yeah, beautiful. Now,
any good is a different question, but, well, there's waters around it.
More water than I have, that's for sure. Jeez Louise.
Well, you can change that.
Yeah, I could. I really could. Gotta get my wife on board. All right. Groovy stuff, melodic stuff, speedy stuff. Did you guys sit down and think about or plan out what kind of an album you guys wanted to make? Or is this just how it happened?
It's just how it happened. I would guess that everyone involved knows a great deal of, what this band is supposed to be, what it sounds like. And then everybody sat down, I guess, with their respective home equipment, studios, whatever, and started doing some good demos, And when we met in April at a hotel, like the Darius and me, we sat down on a bench to have a smoke, and was like, would you mind listening to my new stuff? Right, on my iPhone, and then play me this one, and this is good. You had some great ideas. You wanna listen to my stuff? Oh, well, sure. And we're gonna have a great record. Mm-hmm. That's how it went. Like someone had some pretty good melody ideas here. Yeah, you too. So it was. And we had all the stuff already, all the stuff you see on that album, we more or less already had during the first meeting, where everybody exchanged demos, and we sat down in a little room, where you were not supposed to smoke, and then you would have to open the window, you had to sit on the window still, because it was like the lowest floor, the floor, and then... it was like there was someone coming by, but you're smoking too much. There were there were complaints from other inmates over there, who said you're always smoking and it's coming up to the rooms, to the windows, and and we're trying to have a demo listening session here. Yeah, you really must not smoke so much. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever, man.
And then it took some time till the Kai Hansen came up with Skyfall, which was more or less finished then by November, December, which was like another point in time where we met in Hamburg to have a pre-production period, right? And so that's when that was. And then drums were started, recordings were started right after. And that was that.
So Skyfall was the first completed song?
No, It was the last completed song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we've been doing that pre-production time there because, he said, he would like to have some of that pre-production time, and then I mean that's always pretty heavy on everyone's nerves, and you're getting into details and arrangement and whatever, and then your head's buzzing in the end of the day, right? And then you go home going like, oh man, what did we do today, and where did we cross, what was like the changes and stuff, and then on the next day you go there with like a set of different tracks to be treated. And then, well, he had the Skyfall ready by then, kind of.
Mm-hmm. I'm watching the music video right now for Skyfall.
Yep.
How did you guys do this video or come up with this video for Skyfall?
Well, he kind of had an idea for like a video concept, which he passed on to the video producer, who, by the way, is the same guy who did all the recent covers except for the actual one. And he also did a few videos with us, like, for instance, the Nabatea one and another one stuff. So it's not that he's been doing that business for the first time ever. So we also knew him from before, and so then the Kai Hansen goes there and says, like, you know, I got this video concept with like little aliens, and then I'm thinking of the Hangar 18, and you know, there's going to be like a flying V spaceship, and there it goes, and that's how it went. And yeah, well, I mean, we met in Germany, in Heidelberg, and there was some, I don't know, some kind of disco communication center, civic hall, whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's where we, like, you know, filmed all that stuff. Mostly green screen.
Yeah, I'm watching you guys morph. Watching you guys morph and do things and become things, and I imagine that would definitely be a lot of green screen.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. And I love the production level on the record. Did you guys, you mentioned recording at home for demos anyway, but because of the pandemic, did you guys still record at home and then send it off to get mixed and mastered, or did you?
That was the case, but that we've always done before. And it's like, it's been the way we did most of the productions recently, like the last 5 or 6 albums. And that is an option, right? But on the other hand, we had most of the stuff finished, which was usually recorded well under the supervision of the Charlie Bauerfeind or the Dennis Ward, or a guy called Eike, who was also responsible for Kai Hansen's solo XXX output a few years ago or months ago, whatever. So everyone was recorded by like an engineer or producer or whatever for most of the time. And then whatever was missing afterwards, which wasn't so much, because we had around, say, 90% or a little bit more finished before the lockdowns came, right? And then at least here we were still permitted going on. So I could still go to the studio, take a taxi, and then, you know, record something there with a Charlie every day, which was needed and necessary after all. But I mean, the majority we had already done before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful, sir. Now I'm curious, just because I'm a gearhead myself, what guitar is sitting off to your right over there? Is that the guitar on the record?
That's the one that you hear on the Out for the Glory. That's the rhythm guitar for Out for the Glory. And if you recognize, let's call it V typical solos on that record, I use that thing for the V typical solos. And that's like a custom-made flying V guitar made by some guy, VIV Guitars in Hildesheim, Germany. Because I felt like I want to have some of these, so I got 2 of those, and this one was used, and then there's like a Cherry Sunburst 58 Les Paul reissue that we used for almost all the rhythm guitars. Just that blue thing here you hear on Out for the Glory.
Okay. What kind of pickups are in that bad boy?
That's a Heusel 59. How do you call these things? Like PAFs, right? Like a 59er PAFs. Mm-hmm. And they sound very much like the original 59er PAFs you would find in, for instance, a 58 or 59 Les Paul. So they were very similar, I mean, to use for the work on the album. And then we also used the Parker guitar, like a Parker Mojo Fly from 1990. Black one looks kind of like a Les Paul. If you're looking for a comparison, it's not these ones with like the sticky thingy nosy thing up on the top. It looks like a Les Paul more or less, and it's made out of fiberglass almost completely, and there's only a few pieces of wood worked into the body at strategic points where like the scientists of that company that doesn't exist anymore would know where to put them for harmonics and stuff. Mm-hmm. And all the rest is made of fiberglass, and that thing sounds like a violin from 1780 or whatever, equipped with PAF pickups. It has a Jeff Beck pickup and a jazz pickup at the neck position. And it sounds like something. It has all the freaking harmonies and frequencies you could possibly think of in a guitar. So it sounds like if you had like Jimi Hendrix and other guys and all the King guys with their semi-acoustic guitars from 1947 play via like some Fender cabinet or whatever it is. And it sounds like a real old guitar, with all the harmonics you can possibly think about. And that we also used for lots of melody and twin vocal solos.
Mm-hmm. Probably good for some clean stuff too, I imagine.
Yeah, for that we had another blue Telecaster, which was built by another guy in Germany. He's like the guy who takes care of the guitars, to make him playable for a tour or whatever, service guy with lots of experience, and he built like a blue Telecaster for me. So with humbuckers inside, with the same very humbuckers, by the way, that I mentioned before. That's what we usually took for clean things when I was conducting. Actually, the Sasha would use other guitars for clean and whatever.
Yeah. Now, tricky question.
Oh.
Very tricky question. If it's the same pickups, how different does it sound?
About none. I mean, they're all like very, very similar. All these, if you go for PAFs, it's a PAF, and then it's built that way, with like a bit of the insulation of the cable inside the windings, which gives it like some extra tweak in the highs or whatever, and that's just like the main property of these so-called PAF 59ers. They were wound differently, right? So they still had like the thing inside, whereas the ones after, well, that's where the coverage of the cable is outside of the winding, and so that's what makes it different.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't need all those highs, so I also like creamy whatever Jeff Beck pickups, which could possibly be the best ones there are. Or you have that combination of a Seymour Duncan SH4 and SH2. That's really cool. That's what Sasha came up with. He said, like, the Michael Schenker is using that combination. And then we tried that too on that airbrush V of mine that you can see sometimes during shows. And that has like SH4, SH2. And it's amazing. Probably the best thing for live.
Why is that, Michael?
It's because they are just like very, let's say, rounded up for whatever. Then because of the SH4, you have like a little less winding. These pickups are less hot than, for instance, a regular PAF would be. PAF would be hotter, so then when you go there with a cable and lots of amplification and ambience, well, the guitar would possibly go woo or something like that. And the SH4 wouldn't really do that so quick. And still, if you output your amp properly and you have a nice setting for whatever, that's like the most dependable thing for a live situation, I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I agree. Now, I guess another tech question. Amps. What kind of amps are you using on this record?
We have Fender Sidekick, 10 watts, which is like a transistor one. And we're talking profiles here, because like these amps we have, yeah, they range from the old one from the Walls of Jericho to other Marshall MK2 ones that I have collected in the meantime, that were all sampled and profiled by Sasha Gerstner and Charlie Bauerfeind. And then he puts these things into his Kemper amp, and then he's using that for the very production. And so what you get to hear this time around is a variety of all kinds of Marshalls. There's also some kind of gray slash whatever Marshall, which I used to have, like the same very thing I had during the Keeper 2, but then eventually it got sold. And that's also what you get to hear on the Keeper 2, the same very Marshall gray amp that's switchable in between 50 and 100 watts. Mm-hmm. So I like to use the 50 watt, and there's different views about what is more desirable, whether you go 100 watt all the time or you go 50 watt. I prefer the fuzziness and the warmth of a 50 watt regardless, but that's just my taste, you know. Other people may think different and do whatever they wish, because I'm not going to go there and tell them otherwise.
Yeah, walk in the room and say, hey.
Yeah, hey guy, I mean, that's wrong, you know. Don't you record 100 watts? Are you fucking out of your mind? Yeah. Sorry about the fucking...
Whoa.
Freaking, are you freaking, are you...
Scheiße.
Are you goddamn it? No 100 watt here where I am, you know. I said it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I'm up here trying to go over demos, and you guys are recording at 100 watts.
Yeah, man. How can you? No, that's what we actually did. On the Keeper, we always switched in between the 100 and the 50, because we thought 100 is cooler for rhythm, right? And I don't mind, you know. I don't care if it's up to me, you know. I'd go like record 50 watts all the time. Whatever. You can also record 40 watts or 20 watts, or 30 watts if it's like a Vox AC30. Mm-hmm. We also got amazing profiles from that, of that amp that I'm happy to own, that was used in a track called Time with Andy Daris on the Better Than Raw, where we tried to do some Pink Floyd-y, recordy stuffy. And then right after the amp died, because we gave it a little bit too much punch on the clean side, and then it would like disintegrate right after the recording, which was fine, that we still got the solo from it. And then it got repaired, and we profiled it, and we used that many times for solo parts and melody parts and stuff. Vox AC30.
They're good amps.
Yeah, it is. Right now, I have a Blackstar Black and Blue, you know, and I love that thing. It has like the Celestion Vintage 30 speakers, and it has 2x6L6 black plate. And that thing is amazing. When I put it on, I had no equalization settings or whatsoever. Just put the guitar in there, and I put a little bit of gain. And boom, you had like an old Marshall. It was just like, I mean, you have that setting in between US, American and UK sound and whatever. And I felt like, okay, this is some kind of old MK2 Marshall, or even better, because it has a lot more gain. And you can play that at like a minimum of volume here at home. I mean, I have a few neighbors, and some would eventually call the police because they don't know me, and I just hear some noise coming from here, and then they would go like, this guy is making too much noise at this time of night. And I would have him removed by the very police if I could. So I think I better call them. And then it's like, to avoid that, you know, this amp is like minimally loud. Just like you can set it to like a minimum level of no one's going to hear it and still sound great.
Yeah, I love Blackstar. I'm on their website right now looking at the black and blue.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's beautiful and I love it. I just got it because it's black and blue because I have so many black and blue things.
I
right?
See.
Like,
Yeah.
for instance, this ashtray, this mug, right? This lighter, it's all kind of sky blue, and this very guitar over there, right?
Yeah.
And this small lighter, right? Yep.
Yeah, sehr
And
gut.
then the Blackstar amp, too, right?
Yeah, natürlich.
Yeah.
Fear of the Fallen. Fear.
Yeah, what about it?
What can we say about Fear of the Fallen? It seems a little different than Skyfall, a little bit.
Well, it has a similar sounding word in there, like when you go Skyfall, fallen, goes kind of like fall, right? So it's like a repetition of words. Man, that's so bad that you would tell me this now. You know, I wouldn't have. It would have taken me some more time to find out we have fall in there twice. Yeah. Man, that's bad style. That's bad style. Why didn't anyone say that before? We got to change all the cover artwork now. No, but it's also kind of like you know, which way to go. What do you want to believe of what, you know, you're being made known by whatever instances. You know, you got to decide which way you want to go. No, it's like go into that little house with the little door and the little gate there, you know, where there's like munching claws and stuff inside. You know, do you want to walk in there? If someone tells you, you know, it's all right, you know, you just get killed quickly. Or you're going on the other side, you know, where there's a little hut with like cuddly little doggies in there who go wincing, going like, and you got to decide where you want to go, right?
Yeah.
Or stuff.
I'll choose.
And that's what the Eris is trying to express there. I mean, it's your choice, you know? This is the way you're taking. Decide, you know? Yeah. Kind of groovy, kind of swing. Yeah. You know, it could have been played by a swing orchestra.
Could be another release of the album where you guys do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prague is affordable these days.
That's another release, yes. Next release is going to be Best Time. They just made a video for it. And then at the end of the year, I don't quite get the sense and why, but maybe there will be like some good reason. There will be supposedly another animated video for Out for the Glory. So that's going to be the 4 tracks I know about that have been or will be released this year, in the run of this year.
Yeah, as singles, yeah?
Yeah, singles, kind of singled out tracks.
Is that something you guys decide, or is that more of a record label decision, what the singles that come out?
Kind of all of it, but on the other hand, I mean, for whatever track you pick to do something with, there's always kind of like understandable reasons or reasoning for why that would be a good idea to pick one or the other track. Yeah? And then you can go like, hey, we picked this track, and then someone goes like, oh, they didn't pick my track, oh, or whatever, you know. But then, as I said, there's always a good reason, you know. Don't you cry, everything is fine, you know. Your other track in the future will be picked eventually if you do it fine, you know. But for this time around, this track was picked because. And then it goes out, okay, I'm satisfied, I'm better now.
No, you just got to chat it out.
Yeah, it's just like eventually record company, management, band itself. No? And then it goes like, we all think that that track is super, and so that's why we put it out. Yeah. Yeah. It's good when you have super tracks, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you were Fear of the Sky Fallen, you could do a mash between the two songs. Fear of the Sky Fallen.
Yeah.
And then after that, you've fallen, you'd be down in the dumps.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's there, just in case. Yeah. Or you're like indestructible and you don't even care.
Because you're having the best time because you're out for glory.
Yeah, stuff like that. No, we forgot a few, but I'm not feeling like making up any other
puns?
Pseudo fun things. No, because like for angels, I wouldn't know anything clever to say right now. Excuse me.
Well, they rise without chains on their way to the Robot King, Michael.
Yeah. That's you're doing just fine.
Oh,
so just keep going.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm a dad. I guess it comes naturally.
Thank you. Yeah. That's it. See, I'm not a dad, and so I mean, you must always prevail over. And I mean, you're a native speaker, so whatever.
Yeah.
Like you're in your home, like where you belong. So.
Thank you. I'm
got
glad.
Everything at your disposal. I mean, you can just keep going.
Yeah. Beautiful. But what I will do instead, Michael, is I will thank you for coming on to the show today.
Yes.
We chatted about a lot of stuff. We chatted about exchanging demos for the album. We chatted about the album's a mix of groovy stuff, speedy stuff, melodic stuff. We chatted about...
He noted that. Incredible.
Yeah. Those legendary guitars that are no longer made that were that spice of the early 90s Parker 50-watt versus 100-watt Marshall amps, and the debate that rages on between, do I want my distortion a little more broken up? Do I want more headroom in my distortion? But it is distortion after all.
Distortion, the better in the production, and the less distortion you have in a good environment or ambience or whatever, the more poundy it will sound afterwards, or the more aggressive it will come across, and the more expensive it will sound.
Yeah.
That we found out. If you take too much distortion, it's going to sound cheap and flat.
Yeah, it's very true. PAF Pickups. And then we ended with the Blackstar Black and Blue amp, which I thought was a neat little addition.
Yeah, I had to order it, and I got it from them directly. Then it got shipped here, then it got held up at the customs. The customs sent it back within a day, even though we immediately went there to get it. But, there was no help. They already sent it back to England. And so I had to wait another 1.5 months till it would eventually come back here, and then I could finally take it. That's how things run in times of COVID.
Yeah, good old customs. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show today, Michael.
This is the Michael Weikath of HELLOWEEN, and we're on the Rock Metal Podcast, and I just wanted to thank you for your interest. I don't know if I can say stay tuned or what applies to a podcast.
That works. That was great. You've done that before.